Good morning. Hope everything's well with you on this Monday. A little cold last night. I noticed it was, I think, 10 below out here. Whew, it's cold. I wasn't expecting that in the morning. We welcome you. I first want to say happy birthday to Laverne. And as you're watching this video, you can sing along with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Laverne. Happy birthday to you. As she's a host of one of our groups, we welcome you and wish you a happy birthday this morning. A couple of quick things on the groups. And this is in the bulletin. I'm sort of closing the groups after this point in time. And what I mean by that is, there comes a point where you can't keep adding people because you lose the continuity of it. Now, I know one group has been able to meet one time, and there may be even some snow coming this week that may not come out. So I'm telling you to do what you need to do in your groups this whole entire season, the full 10 weeks. Maybe in the spring we'll have a little bit more normal run at it. So whatever you want to do in your groups, if you want to keep adding people, whatever, that's fine. We're just in a unique situation with the weather and the opportunities that have been presented us, and we're just going to have to adjust a little bit with it. So be aware of that. And so you make your own decisions on that, and I think that would be the best way to handle it. If you have any questions, again, call me, email me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible on those things. This is also the week where we want to try to start having the groups pray together a little bit more. And again, there's some with the discontinuities, that's a hard thing. I know my own personal group, I warned them a week ahead of time. Last week I said, and basically this is what I did. I don't know if it'll work in your setting, but I said next week, we're just going to pray to the person next to us. And it's just going to be a sentence prayer, one sentence long. And we're going to work around the table in that venue. Now remember, we're doing it in a public place. With my group. And so I don't know where your group is meeting. Well, I do know where your group is. So hopefully it's a little easier in those private settings. But that's what we're trying this week. I'll let you know how it goes next week with that. But we want to have public prayer as a means of part of this group right here, and what it does and what it accomplishes. And hopefully we should have, as we grow into this, really good seasons of prayer. And hopefully they get longer and longer and really start to be a vital part of the groups. So keep that in mind as you think about this week. I'm still lacking on the feedback. It's hard to do this without your help in some regard. I did get some verbal feedback, but that's really hard. What I'm looking for after your group meets, and basically as soon as possible, even if you get it to me that week, a quick email or a phone call the next day or whatever might work for you, just to let me know how are things going in your groups. Now, it's important that this feedback comes from the host and the facilitator. I think somebody mentioned, I don't know if I heard them correctly, it's hard for me to work on Sunday mornings a little bit, but I think I heard them that we as a group discuss this. That's not a good idea. That's not what I want, okay? The reason I want the host and facilitator to work with this is because you've read the book, and I've been communicating with you every single week. And so keep it in that sort of dialogue, the host and facilitator. You guys get together after the group, you talk, you say this is well, this isn't. And if you have couples in your group, both couples, all couples can comment on that. It's not a big deal. But just make sure everybody's in a loop on what we're trying to accomplish with this in some regard. I also heard a little bit about just a feedback, a couple things on the questions. I think there are groups, and I'm not for sure, that are getting through all the questions. That should not happen in an hour and a half period. For instance, and all I know is to reference my group, so I'm not saying we're doing it right and you're doing it wrong, but that's the only reference point I have. We probably get through 3 questions, and we do it for about, I would say, a half hour or maybe 40 minutes we work on those questions. And so just to let you know, and so 3, maybe 4 questions, but they're not a lot. And they're so in other words, there has to be as a facilitator this way that you sort of extend the invitation for dialogue by asking questions. How did that make you feel is a great question. Or could you explain a little bit more about that and those type of things? You want to have discussion in the group. That is what makes you know about each other. And that discussion needs to happen on all the questions. Now let me review real quick what kind of questions we have going on. We have the self-discovery questions. There should be 2 in each setting of self-discovery. There should be 2 questions that are related to the sermon. There should also be 2 questions of extra biblical material, okay? Now please try to hit at least those 3, all right? So that's 6 questions right there. Now I may put another one in here or there, and I'm trying to work it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it a little bit. But those are the basis of what I'm trying to do. And then you have the basically personal application. I may put a lighter application up at the top section, but the digging deeper is a personal application question. And again, tread lightly with those if people don't want to share. But eventually, and hopefully soon here, you guys will start discussing those in your group setting. Those where you get down to the nitty gritty. And that means people have to be real. And sometimes that's hard to do with ourselves, let alone other people. And I talked about that this last Sunday. And so just keep that in mind with what's going on. If you're looking at the questions ahead of time when you're doing them, you have some questions you want to ask me about. Sometimes my thoughts don't connect with other people's thoughts. And so let me know, and that way I can help steer you even before you have your groups if you would like. So I'll give you some pointers or whatever, at least how I was thinking about that when I wrote the question and various things. And so just remember that. I think there was another just comment real quick about too much more Bible questions. Again, if you're used to a Bible study, this format is lacking in Bible. I admit that. Again, we're trying to change gears a little bit, and that's hard to do if that's what we were used to. And to be honest with you, that's where the church sort of maximizes. Hey, let's have Bible study, Bible study, Bible study. And so we're trying to say, okay, we want to have Bible, but we also want to have learning about each other, and eventually we want to get to this application issue. How do we apply these things to our life? Remember, Sunday morning, if you want to think about it, is Bible study. We're studying God's Word. It's about God's Word, preaching to that effect, and you have some parameters that enlarge that to some degree in your questions, but we just don't want to have Bible. And so if you're geared in that area, just try to continue to help yourself work through it and realize, okay, this is a new thing, this is a new thing. Keep saying that. It's a new day. I like when our DS was here and he said, this is a new day, this is a new day. And so I just try to work along those venues. And so anyway, so I'm praying for you. I want great things to happen. I'm here available. Again, just the feedback, email, phone call. That way I can take some notes, okay? And give me some feedback as to how, especially the questions are going in your group. And maybe if all the questions are getting finished, I'm not asking enough questions to have good interaction. All right, but again, those facilitators try to work with those questions. Try to let that bait on that fishing line float down the river a little bit further, and try to dig up some good discussion. It's okay if you have discussion. That's really what we want. We don't want to answer all the questions. We want discussion with them. Okay, and so again, I'm praying for you. Looking forward to a good week. Hopefully, the weather will start to cooperate somewhat this week for us, and we get some new people added to the groups this week. I'm hoping. Anyways, bless you. Have a great day.